Hi everyone, Kristina Werner here. Welcome to another video for SimonStamp.com. Today I'm using the stamps and pattern paper and cardstock and all the things from the February 2024 card kit. Here's the stamp set that's included in the kit. This is called Slider, Camera, and Typewriter. It's a great kind of interactive type of stamp set. And included in your kit, you actually get the dies that coordinate with the typewriter. You can get the dies for the camera separately. And in fact, for my card today, I'm going to be using the camera, but I'll just freehand cut the camera and it works out great. Included in the kit are these beautiful pattern papers, which I'll be using today. And I'm going to start out by stamping the camera. So I'm removing it from the stamp set sheet and putting it on the door of my MISTI. And I'm going to be stamping it in charcoal ink onto some white cardstock. This is Neenah Classic Crest Solar White 80-pound cardstock. And I'll just stamp that, and then you can see all that beautiful detail from this image. I think it just looks great. And now I'm going to stamp onto some pattern paper. I thought it would be kind of neat to have sort of these like Polaroid or instant camera type images made out of pattern paper. So I'm placing that kind of photo stamp so it frames an area of the butterfly paper, and I'll stamp that and then I'll set it aside, and I swapped it out for a different piece of pattern paper, this really pretty floral. And then for a third photo, I'm going to use the pink cardstock that's in the kit. This is Cotton Candy cardstock from Simon. And on this one, I'm going to stamp my greeting, which says, "Hey, good looking." It's a great way to just get a greeting on there. Now, the stamp set itself, like I said, it's kind of interactive. You can have the photos coming out of the camera, or you can have the paper coming out of the typewriter. For my card today, I'm keeping it really simple, and it's not actually going to be coming out of the camera. Instead, I'm going to have 3 photos fanned out, and that third photo will be the one with the greeting. I stamped my greeting in a clear embossing ink from Simon. Then I applied some white embossing powder, and that embossing powder did stick to my gray inked lines, so I just brushed that off with a clean dry brush. I then stamped that same image 3 times so that I could have the white frame on each photo. So I'm actually going to be building my photos by cutting out the white frame and then putting the pattern paper and the colorful greeting on the inside. So I just used some scissors and trimmed these out. These were very easy images to cut out. And if you wanted to add a little slit on the camera so the photos could come out, you could just use a ruler and a craft knife and just cut a straight line. So you can go, you can do without the dies, but they are very convenient and very quick. All right, so then I cut out each one of the interior of my photos. And when I was cutting these out, I sort of wanted to cut just slightly on the inside of the stamped line so that the gray stamped line on the actual white cardstock would show a bit more. I trimmed each one of these out, and then it was time to start assembling them. So the way I put these together is I just use a little bit of tape runner. My favorite tape runner right now, and has been for a few years, is Tombow XTREME adhesive. It's super, super sticky. It's one of those ones where it's permanently adhered. For my greeting, I wanted to kind of darken up this pale pink cardstock a little bit. I wanted more of a coral shade. So I used the color of ink called Blush, and I just blended that in from each side. And that really kind of changes the look of the cardstock. I also used a little bit of watermelon ink just on the edges to have a little bit more of that warm red tone coming in. And after I had a bunch of that watermelon ink on, just coming in on those edges, I decided to tone it down a little bit. It was looking a little bright. And so I used that same charcoal ink that I used to stamp the camera and also the frames for the photos. And for this one, I started the blending really far away from my actual piece of cardstock because I just wanted just the edges to get kissed by that blending brush. So very, very gentle blending brush coming in, and it kept the charcoal ink at a minimum. For this last one, you can see the difference from the back of that cardstock, which is that clean, bright cotton candy pink, versus the color that I got when I added my blending. And it sort of matches that large flower on the floral pattern paper. I thought the colors matched really well. So for the background of my card, I decided to cut some pattern paper. I'm going to do a 5x7 card, so I cut my cardstock or my pattern paper to 4x6, so I have a little bit of a border all around. And then I also cut a band of cardstock. This is actually fog cardstock from Simon, and I cut it to 1 inch wide and 7 inches across. So 1 inch thick, 7 inches across. And then I darkened it up using that same charcoal ink. Now it kind of inked up really easily because I had a little bit of that light gray base color, but you could also just press the ink pad directly onto white cardstock. I think you'd probably get a similar color. I adhered my pattern paper to my 5x7 card using that same tape runner adhesive. And after that was adhered, I took my now dark gray band and I adhered that directly down onto the card. I did it probably about 1 3/4 inches from the bottom edge, and I used a long T-square ruler to help me get that on completely straight. I adhered the camera to the card with 6 foam squares, and then I added 2 foam squares just onto the photo with the greeting on it. The other photos are going to be adhered directly to the card using that tape runner adhesive. So this is going to minimize all the dimension and foam behind all these pieces. I wanted it mainly just on the 2 pieces in front, which is the greeting photo and also the camera. So that right side of the photo is hanging over the edge of the camera. So I put regular adhesive on that side and then foam on the other. And then as I adhere this down, there's going to be the bottom right corner of the photo that is sort of just hanging out there with no support underneath. So I'm actually going to take one of the foam squares and I'm going to kind of slide it under the photo and adhere it from underneath. This is really easy to do by removing the backer paper and then just put that foam square on scissors or on the edge of an X-Acto knife, slide that under, and then press it into place. And that finishes my card. I love cards like this because I don't often use pattern paper, but it really does lend itself to a quick and easy card with a lot of impact. So here's my finished card for today. Make sure you check out the February 2024 card kit from Simon Says Stamp. It's available at SimonsSaysStamp.com, as well as everything I've used today for this card. You'll find all the links down below.
Hi there, I'm Heidi, Simon's mama and founder at SimonsSaysStamp.com. Thank you so much for watching our video. If you like what you just saw, be sure to press the thumbs up and subscribe to see more great content.